Well, Nabila Nasir is an FGM survivor, as well as a gender activist and an international development consultant in Malaysia. And she joins us now from Kuala Lumpur. Thank you very much for your time and thank you for talking to us. Could you just tell us about your own experiences?
Well, since the age of 4, I've always been carrying a vivid, painful memory of something being done to me, but not knowing what it was. And at the age of 21, while attending a course on Islam and gender, it became clear to me that what had happened was in fact FGM. It was quite a realization to go through that in a room full of people. And subsequently, I tried to film a documentary on the issue in the region. But needless to say, it is a very difficult issue to start the ball rolling on, as there are a lot of political and social barriers to go through.
Your story it's not uncommon, is it? FGM is actually on the increase in Southeast Asia, is that right?
Yes, exactly. Because it's believed that FGM is a fairly new practice in the Southeast Asian region, maybe only dating about 30, 40 years at most, and it's not as old a custom as it is in the Middle East and Africa. There is also less information, less statistics, and far less knowledge about how extensive the practice is in the region. And only within the last 10 years or so that the discussion has begun to surface. But it still remains an open secret. People know that it's being done, and there are national fatwas condoning and legalizing the practice in the region, but there are no open discussion on how to react to the issue specifically.
Is what's happening in Southeast Asia, is that in contrast with other regions such as Africa and the Middle East? Are the number of cases declining there?
Yes, I think in most countries in Africa, it's been quite successful, the campaigns that's being done there. So in most countries, it's been banned, but in Southeast Asia, it's been made legal and compulsory. And so there's in Southeast Asia, there are 4 types of FGM in total, depending on the type of severity. And the most common in Southeast Asia are type 1 and 2, which are the pricking of the clitoral prepuce and the removal of the clitoral hood. And it's a misconception that it only happens in the rural communities because it happens a lot in the urban areas as well, after speaking to doctors and traditional birth attendants.
It's a cultural practice as well as a religious one. How is that affecting your outreach work and the work you're trying to do? Are you being met with resistance?
Well, yes, given the political climate and the further Islamization in the region, to begin the conversation on the issue will get activists a lot of hostile pushbacks from authorities and communities. And for a country like Malaysia, where there are laws for speaking out against national fatwas and what is perceived to be an Islamic practice, the challenge is even bigger one. So in Indonesia, the discussion is that they should be medicalizing the procedure and including it into the medical student syllabus. But I think this is a very problematic solution because it gives validity to the practice and it does not take into account the issue of consent by the child. So I think what should be done is that there should be more concrete political will by local and regional civil societies and donors to be able to take up the issue more strongly, because right now it's being put back at the back burner as being unimportant because it's perceived to be non-lethal consequences because the practice is not as severe as it is in Africa.
Okay, Nabila, thank you very much for your time. Much appreciated.
No problem.